Good morning and welcome to SUNUP. I'm Dave Deacon and we're coming to you from the first stop in the 2016 County Fair Series, Ottawa County. We'll have more on that a little bit later on in the show. But first, a lot of canola producers are thinking about planting in the near future. Here's Josh Lofton and Lyndall Stout with a little planting advice.
Time to talk canola planting now with our cropping system specialist, Josh Lofton. And Josh, a lot of producers still have their summer crops in the ground. What kind of advice do you have for them?
It's hard to believe that we've been talking summer crops for the last several weeks, and now it's time to start talking canola, because if not, we're going to get behind the 8 ball. But with summer crops coming out, it's time to really think about harvest for your corn and grain, sorghum, etc. Soybeans are a little bit further away, sesame's a little further away, but when we get done with harvest, it's time to start thinking about our winter crops.
And one of the first things that producers will do, or are already in the middle of doing, is selecting and buying seed, correct? What's the status?
Yeah, hopefully most of the growers have bought their seed or booked their seed already. If not, now's the time to do it. Start pouring over all those variety trial results and all those brochures to select your right one, because what we're hearing is that there's going to be plenty of canola seed, but you might not be able to get the right or the variety or cultivar you wanted in particular situations. So call your dealer now, call the rep as soon as you've decided, but now's the time to decide. Don't delay any longer.
In terms of management, what do producers need to be doing to make sure that ground is ready to go and is just like it needs to be at planting time? Yeah,
and we got a great example right behind us. Now's the tilling time. If you're going to go into conventional tilled situations, now's the time to make your passes, your final passes with tillage. We see behind us, it's a little rough. I wouldn't plant canola behind us here today because it is a little rough. We like that nice, firm, smooth seed bed. We're planting canola very precisely, so we need to make sure we're planting it into a nice bed. But if you go through and you till this, we probably like to see at least a rain or two on it before we actually go into planting. So looking at the 10-15 day forecast, there's not a whole lot of rain chances for us in the future. And we got to think we're only 25 days from the first day of planting. So getting the tilling done now, just in case we are able to catch a stray afternoon shower or something, is probably in your best situation. The no-till guys, they're a little bit easier right now, but their challenge will come at planting.
And then any other things that folks should think about, soil tests or other sort of management practices to think about this time of year?
Exactly. I mean, this is when things start really piling up. When you're out there doing your tilling, once you've made those passes, pull your soil sample, make sure you're getting the right nutrients out there where you need it and when you need it. Make sure you're going out there with your pre-emerge. Like I said, the no-till guys have a little bit longer before they're starting to really get into crunch time, but when we get into planting, that's when those no-till guys need to really make sure they're getting their burn down and their pre-emerge out. And then we got to start thinking about planting. We already got the seed, hopefully, making sure their drills or their planter are set right. 1 or 2 pounds off either direction is really challenging for canola. It's usually not for wheat. And making sure that it's planting at the right depth, the right time, getting it out there with some moisture, that's where we're going to need to go. Because we had such a successful year last year, let's make it again this year. And it starts at planting.
Sure does. Okay, Josh, thanks a lot. We'll see you again soon. And now here's our colleague Eric DeVeest with some more tips as you plan for canola.
We're thinking that canola would be a better crop for a lot of our producers this year because there's the upside potential. They can go into a lot of these fields and clean up some grass problems that they've been dealing with for years. If they do that, they want to be aware that the application for crop insurance is due this month, August 31. We think that there's more upside potential on that canola price than there is in wheat price, and that's purely based on the historical difference between wheat price and canola price, which is generally over $3. Now we've seen the cash price this year be as narrow as $2, but so we suspect that if we return to that level, we can get $6.75 or maybe even $7. $7 is looking like a solid break-even number for a lot of our producers, and so when they're going into the elevator, calling the elevator, looking at those contact prices, when they have an opportunity to market to forward price canola over $7, they need to be doing that. And it may even be at $6.50 or $6.75. Everybody needs to look at their own break-evens and decide where can I cover those costs? Because as we said, wheat's going to be really challenged to reach break-evens this year. We have the Oklahoma wheat canola budget generator, which will allow them producers to put in their budgets side by side for a continuous wheat rotation versus a wheat canola rotation, and they can play around with that, put their own costs, their own yields, their own prices, and play a bunch of what-if games with those prices and yields and see, all right, what do I need to cover my cost of production? We also have a wheat stalker graze out tool that producers can look at that will help them decide, is this the year to try to get a second crop of stalkers out there and graze out wheat. Their local cooperative extension educators can help them find these tools, can help them run those tools, and before you're making any big changes, that's probably a good idea to go in and talk to your county educator.
I'm Al Sutherland with your Mesonet weather report. The weather talk this week has been about the drop in temperatures. On Wednesday, no Mesonet site recorded a maximum air temperature of 100 degrees. In the southeast corner of the state, 22 Mesonet sites had highs in the 80s. Nighttime cooling gave us Tuesday lows that had most of the state in the 60s. Only 3 Mesonet sites had lows above 70. Nighttime lows in the upper 50s were scattered across the state. Bristow, with its 53 degrees, had the coolest nighttime low on Tuesday morning. Our drop in air temperatures are slowing crop maturity. A graph of cotton heat units at Blackwell shows the cooling trend after August 11th. At Blackwell, between August 1st and the 16th, 6 days came in close to 25 cotton heat units. 2 days were at 15. At Hinton, we also see a cooling trend in August for cotton heat units, but a little warmer than Blackwell. Hinton had 7 days close to 25 heat units. Only 1 day was close to 15 heat units. Altus was a little warmer in the first week of August, with 7 days close to 25 heat units. What it didn't have was a bump above 25 heat units on August 11th. We see a cooling trend at Altus, but no days at or below 15 heat units. Farmers are hoping for enough heat units in August and September for summer crops to fully mature. This week has been cooler than normal, and we're expecting to stay in that mode to begin next week. A temperature outlook for August 25th into the end of August shows we are likely to continue with below normal temperatures. Rainfall chances from August 25th to the 31st gives us an above average chance of more rainfall. With rains forecast through the middle of next week, many places in Oklahoma will likely see good soaking amounts of rain. You may have already received some your way. The purple areas are forecasted to have 1.5 inches or more. Soil-soaking rains in Oklahoma in August encourage the emergence of pecan weevil from our soils. Pecan growers have already put out weevil traps to monitor weevil movement into pecan trees. Looking back to July, was it hotter than normal? Yes, but only 1 to 2 degrees above the 15-year Mesonet average. What made July seem so hot this year was the humidity. While Kenton, Durant, Hugo, and Cloudy had less humidity than average, most of the state came in with their average humidity 4 to 8% above average. In a real twist, Altus, Hobart, and Weatherford humidities were 9% above average. Those are usually dry sites with low summer humidities. In Oklahoma, when it comes to weather, it's best to expect the unexpected. Thanks for joining us for this edition of the Mesonet Weather Report.
For the past few weeks, we've been taking a look at different summer crops from across the state, and we finished the series with soybeans. Once again, here's OSU's cropping system specialist, Josh Lofton.
Today we're going to continue our series on summer crops, and we're going to look at soybeans. Soybeans are a little bit different than what we've looked at in the past in our corn and our grain sorghum because it's a broadleaf. It's also a legume, which means that it can actually produce approximately 75 to 90% of its total nitrogen within the individual processes within the plant. So that's something actually that we don't have to worry about when we start managing soybeans. However, when we look at soybeans, unlike corn and grain sorghum, its area of optimum production is a lot more narrow. We mainly like to look for soybeans east of I-35 for really strong production. Now that doesn't mean that west of I-35 that we can't produce soybeans. However, sometimes it's a roll of the dice. It's a hit or miss because of how dry we can get out west of I-35. If you get out that far, sometimes you're going to be able to make a real decent crop. Like this year, they look to have a real decent crop going. However, in future years, once again, you can have really good years or you can have really bad years. The benefit of soybeans is how well it actually does as a double crop. Most growers that I see in the I-35 and west can get just as high double crop yields as they can full season. So it fits very well into that wheat soybean rotation and that nice little system there. So it's a really good crop, a really nice rotational crop for the state of Oklahoma. Can really provide us some good benefits to our agronomic production system. It typically has a nice price associated with it that you can make money with the crop. Sometimes that's not true, but a lot of times it is. So what we actually have to do is if you're wanting to grow soybeans here in the state of Oklahoma, you have to see what your limiting factor is and if you can overcome that for soybean production systems. And always have in the back of your head that variety selection is going to be challenging because we have the maturity group differences as well as multiple varieties within individual maturity groups, but that can also be a tool to help get soybeans correctly into your production system as long as you can overcome that challenge of moisture. For more information on soybean production here in the state of Oklahoma, you can go visit your county extension office and talk to your educator.
Wheat prices remain in a relatively narrow trading range. Joining us now is Kim Anderson, our crop marketing specialist. Kim, the first question, do you foresee this changing anytime soon?
There are some positive signs in the market, and there is a slight uptrend if you look at that KC September contract, but I don't anticipate any big changes in wheat prices. We may get a 10 or 15 cent price rally. It's going to be hard to pull off, but that is possible. I think the change we are going to see in the next couple of weeks, it's almost 100% chance of it, is about a 25-cent decline in the basis.
Okay, let's talk about basis a little more. Explain how a basis of minus $1.15 is the same as minus $1.40.
And that's what we're going to face in the next couple of weeks. Right now around Oklahoma, the basis is plus or minus a little bit from $1.15 less than the September contract. What we're going to do in the next couple of weeks is roll from the September to the December contract. Now, it won't have impact on the cash prices, but it will change the contract. Right now, the September contract is $4.15. The December contract is $4.40, and cash prices are $3. The basis is equal to the cash price minus the contract price. So if you've got September, you've got $3 minus $4.15 is a minus $1.15. If you're bidding off the December contract, then you've got $3 cash price minus $4.40. That's a minus $1.40. So the basis will be 25 cents less, but the cash price won't change because of the move.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more just in general about why grain prices are so low to begin with.
Because we got so much grain around the world. You know, you look at corn, we're looking at a record world corn crop of 40.5 5 billion bushels. The 5-year average is 37.1. You look at the U.S., a record 15.2 billion bushels. 5-year average is 13 billion. You look at wheat. In the last 9 years, 7 of those years, we've had record world wheat crops. You're looking at 27.3 billion bushels this year, an average of around 25.1 or 2. So we got low prices because we got excess grain. And just imagine, with the shortage of storage, with probably over 10 million bushels of wheat in bunkers and on the ground in Oklahoma alone, that's just wheat, we got corn coming in. What if we have the 17 crop the same size as the 16 crop? Where are we going to put it, and what's going to happen to prices then?
And with this in mind and asking those same questions, what should producers do?
Well, the market's telling us that we have to reduce acres. We have to reduce acres in wheat. We got to, maybe not corn, because corn is very volatile. It's all dependent on the weather. But we have to take off the world's production for 17 to get prices back up into $6 above break-even levels. We got to take off equivalent of this year's winter wheat crop in the United States. That's 1.5 billion bushels. If we don't reduce production, or if we have production as high as we had this year, we could see $2 wheat prices in 2017.
Let's hope not. Kim Anderson, thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.
Every summer in August, I think it's important to remind those cow-calf producers that have fall calving herds that gestation length of those cows may be just a little bit shorter than what your gestation table in your books might say. Research was done here at Oklahoma State University just a few years ago that compared gestation length of cows that were bred to calve in late fall, say October, November, or cows that were bred to calve in late summer, August and September. And over a couple of years period of time, they kept track of when those cows calved in relationship to the AI breeding that took place. And I want to point out that they were bred artificially using the same sires, so there's no genetic influence on the differences that they found in gestation length. The cows that calved after some cooler weather, those that calved in October and November, had a slightly longer gestation length than did cows that calved in August and September. The first year the difference was 6 days on the average, almost a full week. The second year is a little bit shorter at 4 days on the average. But what that tells me is that cattlemen that have fall calving herds where they plan to have the calving start around the 1st of September better expect a percentage of those cows to calve ahead of schedule. They want to start watching those heifers and cows that they expect to have calve. They better start watching them here in late August and expect at least a percentage of them to go into labor, and if they need assistance, you can give them that assistance when it's required. For some reason, cows that gestate in hot weather tend to have shorter gestation lengths and calve a little bit earlier than do their counterparts that calve in much, much cooler weather. Hey, we look forward to visiting with you again next week on SUNUP's Cow-Calf Corner.
With fair season ramping up across the state, there's going to be a lot of livestock working for those blue ribbons. Extension veterinarian Barry Whitworth has advice for handlers as they load up the livestock and head to the county fair.
I know several people across the state, young people across the state, are getting ready with their livestock projects for their local county fair, and some of those will go on to our state fairs also. And one of the things that we have a concern about is taking an unhealthy animal to a livestock show and infecting other animals, or in a worst case scenario, for them to have some type of disease that could infect people. So just to be on the safe side, it'd be a good idea to make a quick health check of your animal before you load that animal up and head to the fair. And you can do this very easily. First of all, take a look at the animal. Make sure the animal is bright, alert, and responsive. That when you see the animal, that it responds to you in a proper manner, that its ears are up, its eyes are focused on you, and you know that animal, as far as his mental status, is normal. Then we'd want to look at his appetite. Make sure your animal's consuming his feed the way he's supposed to. Then we might take a look at the eyes, make sure they're clear. We don't have any ocular discharge that would be abnormal. We want to take a look at that nose, make sure it's clean. We don't want an abnormality as far as the discharge coming from that nose. We don't want that nose to be dirty. We want that animal to be keeping his nose clean. And as I was taught in school, we want to look at those little nice small droplets of water on that nose. We call those the dewdrops of health. From there, we might want to look at the coat, make sure it's shiny, clean. We don't want it to look unkept where the animal's not grooming herself properly. We want to look at the skin for any hair loss, for any signs of sores or abnormalities there. Then we'd look at the tail, make sure we don't have an abnormal amount of fecal material back there that would indicate that we're having diarrhea problems, or which indicates that we have a digestion problem. Make sure the animal moves properly. We have no signs of lameness, and that we don't see any sores or anything like that around the hooves. If we'll take the time to do this and make sure our animal is healthy, I think it'll go a long ways in preventing any unwanted diseases at the fair. Other thing we can do, I'm not telling you not to take an animal to the fair that may have some problem. You might just want to stop by and let your veterinarian take a look at it and ensure there's nothing there that would be infected to any other animals.
Finally today, we're coming to you from the 97th Ottawa County Fair in Miami. SUNUP's Curtis Hare shows us what makes this fair so special.
School is not the only thing in session. The county fairs in Oklahoma have also kicked off. Ottawa County is celebrating its 97th fair, and it's a huge event for folks in the northeastern part of the state. Ottawa County Extension Director Kathy Arnyart says the fair is all about bringing the county together.
This is our 97th annual Ottawa County Fair. We have a great fair board and a lot of volunteers who help make this week or 8 days worth of activities happen. And primarily it's for the youth of the Ottawa County, but the families can come together and it makes it kind of a family affair and an old-time family reunion. A lot of people don't understand all the work and the stages it takes to actually get to the shows and the activities and the ribbons on the exhibits. It's a long week, but it's a fun week, and it's just a great way to see those kids shine and be very proud of their accomplishments.
Nearly 1,000 animals and about 350 exhibitors will flock through the Ottawa County Fair, and the path to a blue ribbon is a year-long effort.
All year we have to take care of them and feed them. And our pigs, we have to walk them and everything every night, every morning. This one got first.
This one got first too.
Yeah, both of them got first. This is in the junior division and this one's in the older division. It's really fun.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun experience for everybody.
It's really fun, and I get to see all my friends through 4-H, and I can teach my friends from school about my animals and stuff. I think I learned a lot because when we weren't in 4-H and we first started, we didn't talk as much and we weren't as social, but now we talk to everybody.
Well, that does it for us this week on SUNUP. If there's something on the show that you'd like to learn more about, visit our website, sunup.okstate.edu. And while you're there, check out our social media. I'm Dave Deacon, coming to you from the Ottawa County Fair in Miami, and we will be stepping aside for the next couple weeks, and we will be returning on September 10th. Until then, Remember, Oklahoma agriculture starts at sunup.